and doesn't appear on the screen for very long.
So
And now
Kris.
we're starting.
Yep, there we go.
So we got 5109. Kris didn't enable colorblind mode for some reason, which is going to make the puzzle slightly more difficult, but gets it anyway.
Kris does know the colors in order. The color order doesn't change every time, so if you know it, you're good. I do not know that order because I've always used colorblind mode.
So now the players are going to be getting the bottle of alcohol from the fridge, dipping it with a dry branch to make a spark from the television, and lighting a fire to find a key on the floor.
It's kind of a joke, or if you talk to, you see Kris did it, talk to the fireplace twice, then you'll get a dialogue that says, flames are dim but comforting. Kind of a joke in the community because it's a little slow, but it's a great line. Both players pretty even going into this light bulb grab.
Laurie is about 3 seconds ahead or so. Very slight lead, but anything can happen over the course of this run.
I have to equip this light bulb here, which Kris had a bit of trouble doing.
It's kind of weird when you grab the light bulb, it's not actually equipped. You have to go into your menu and equip it. It's kind of a weird feature.
The item on your bottom right there is what's equipped. It's a good way to tell.
And with that, the tutorial, quote-unquote, stage is complete. And players are going to be entering the first main area of the game, which is the Barrens. This is a very dark and gloomy area, and there's many things to do here.
Including fast travel, which you're going to see in just a moment. Luckily for speedrunners, you don't have to walk everywhere, you can fast travel. So Laurie and Kris are going to run right up and grab this fast travel point for the docks, and then they can fast travel out of there back to further down in the entrance area they are to get to the next place quicker.
Saves an enormous amount of time over the course of the run.
Yep, a lot of this route is routing the optimal fast travel timing, when to get each area, when to fast travel to it.
So now the players are going to be talking to ProfitBot, which is informing Nico of more of the lore of this game. And to get out of this text box, this mandatory conversation, you have to ask about the computer.
Which is the third choice down, so if you just keep mashing, you're going to ask about the world, which is not what you want to see. And then you have to exit out and fast travel, and then you're going to see them go into a bed and sleep, which closes the game.
That's one unique feature about this. Sleeping in the bed counts as a save point. One of the save points, actually. And you have to relaunch the game every time. It's a really unique characteristic.
You get a little dream sequence each time.
And it ties into the lore of the game as well.
Yep, a lot of very important character development that we're completely skipping here for the sake of going fast. Then Laurie's going to be grabbing that metal pipe. You saw Kris grab it before. Technically grabbing the metal pipe after you sleep saves one tile, but it's something that pretty much only Laurie does. And you flatten it here to make a crowbar, which you don't use for a little bit, but it's going to be useful for a couple of puzzles coming up.
Laurie's still maintaining the lead. The gap has increased in size by a little bit, but Kris can definitely catch up.
Still plenty of game left. So what you see there is you see them both entering this cliff area, fast traveling out immediately and then fast traveling back. That's what we call a super fast travel, or an SFT. Basically, fast traveling in and out of an area will let you get further into the area because each fast travel has a set spawn point, so it's faster to fast travel out in the back end than to walk to that area.
So right now, we'll be going to the mines to grab a few important items as well as some character development, which we are skipping.
Led here by Silver. This very interesting character.
A lot of the speed in this game comes from tech smashing and item combinations. To have a good time in this game, you need to master both of those. Everyone has a slightly different way of mashing through text in this game. Z and X are by default the the confirm and cancel buttons for the game, and if you mash those, you can go through text exceptionally fast.
Yep, I think Laurie does use a dual index method where she has both of her index fingers on Z and X. There you see a charged battery, kind of a very difficult item to craft actually, just because the number of text boxes that pop up can be a little weird sometimes.
It's very easy to mess that up.
Yep, you see Kris messing it up here. It's very easy to equip the wrong item or something. And here, talking to the computer will generate a random code, a 6-digit code, that you have to put into the safe up here in Cliff. So another instance of RNG that isn't too big, but it's something that we definitely have to be on our toes for during the run.
The code for this safe is hidden in a text document in your Documents folder, and you can access it using either Notepad++ or File Explorer. And it's a very unique puzzle mechanic in this game.
Laurie having a pretty medium code there. Obviously, you want the least number of inputs, so like 555555 is a bad code. Kris having an okay code as well. And then Laurie's going to be grabbing the sponge here, and then also the gloves used for some puzzle later on. Also skipping some notes there about creating a wet sponge to clean off robots. Luckily, she knows how to do that.
Yeah, that's going to be very important in a few moments here. Laurie still has a pretty substantial lead over Kris here.
And it definitely seems to be growing with every mashing segment. Kris is a runner who's run the game for a very long time, although has been inactive recently. Just recently joined again for this tournament.
You'll notice when the fast travel menu is up, the options scroll down chronologically. And because of that, the more fast travel locations you have, the longer the animation will take. So it's not the same muscle memory every single time. It's something to get used to. And now Laurie's going to be crafting some items at the shrimp swamp to make a sponge to clean off the robot. And the robot's going to be our gate to the next area of the game, which will be coming up momentarily.
Important to note, this robot is a robot on a boat who is spelled ROWBOT. Very good one there. Basically, this robot's saying that they don't remember where the Glen is, which is the next area. So we have to get something to help them remember.
Durable made a meme image of that robot, where it's the flex tape boat instead of the actual boat, and I think about that image a lot.
It's a very good meme. I think it's what your split's called, right?
Yes, I've always had that as my split name for that very reason.
So Laurie's here entering probably the longest continuous mashing section of the game. Just a lot of talking about chess. Nico loses every time.
Poor Nico.
Nico tries their best.
And with that, you get the amulet, and now Laurie is going to be powering up the robot to go to the Glen.
Dumping off some items. And finishing the Barrens with a time of 8:39. Definitely pretty solid.
In between every main area of the game, there's these beautiful title card animations made by Night Margin, who is the game's artist and writer, I believe. I might be wrong on that. This game was made by 3 main developers, and it is very good. It was made in RPG Maker and about 2 years ago remastered for Steam.
And even if you're watching this game, there's a whole lot we don't show off in the game, be it stuff in this run, and also there's a New Game Plus run, which is the meat and potatoes of why this game is so good. So I would highly recommend still getting it. Here, Laura is actually going to be using fast travel to skip a small cutscene. If you walk further down this bridge, there's a little cutscene of the character you're about to meet. And by fast traveling in and out, you skip that cutscene. Small little time save. And then this is Calamus, looking for his little sister who got lost somewhere, probably in the ruins. So it is our job to go find her.
And we'll learn more about Calamus later. He's one of the main characters in this game. Same with Alula, who is his sister.
But we're getting blocked by the robot. Very unfortunate. That robot.
Very
That
unlucky
robot likes
there.
to troll you. It is not a friend to speedrunners.
The robot can walk in any direction it wants, and sometimes they'll choose to walk right in front of you as you're walking past it, which makes for some very interesting moments in running this game.
It's a mind game. And then if it walks in front of you, if you have to correct yourself, it can follow your correction as well. You just get blocked by the robot twice. And here we're meeting Maze, kind of a more minor character, but still very interesting nonetheless. He's kind of protecting this Glen area. And he leaves a light bulb with her.
Yeah, Nico will surrender the light bulb for a bit. And you'll notice that the area of the game is noticeably darker, because the light bulb is the main source of light in this area. It is the sun, after all, in this game's world.
So here we're going to be seeing the first of a few tile puzzles, where Laurie has to quickly create an image kind of resembling a light bulb. There's a few different shots. I think Laurie does the fastest one.
Very clean. That was amazing.
And gets to walk right at the end. If you, within a couple of frames of finishing the last tile, if you hold a direction, you'll walk in that way. So you can use that to get one step closer to Alula.
You're supposed to access this solution by looking at your desktop wallpaper after talking to a computer. But if you just memorize the pattern, you don't have to do it. It's not mandatory.
Only those three puzzles in this game, one we skip, are randomized. Everything else is the same every time. Including this ramp puzzle coming up. There's kind of a funny story with this ramp puzzle where Laurie was trying to optimize her route for this. It's kind of like a strength puzzle in Pokemon. And she was trying to optimize it. And then she got it a little bit faster. And I was like, I don't know, my route's probably bad. And she looked at mine and it was faster. So kind of like make fun of her for that one.
Yeah, there's a few different solutions you can do for this puzzle. But that was the fastest solution we know of currently, as Bicer just mentioned.
And we're going to use the wool that we get from the shepherd. Not a very useful item, but we can use it to trade here. And get a bottle of ink, which might be useful later. Almost definitely will be useful later, otherwise we wouldn't be getting it.
The players are going to be using it to craft a pen after this next part.
First, you have a decision coming up. If you say no to this decision, then you have to lose like 15 seconds walking to their place. But instead, we just get teleported there. Do the magic of cutscene.
Saying no to that dialogue option is very bad. And now we got Kris working on the puzzle, using a slightly different method. See how it works out for him.
It's good, just has a slightly different way to get to the same outcome. You see Laurie getting a feather there. Another similar glowing item like the amber we got from Silver.
Now Laurie's going to be picking up the light bulb again. And that's the last main thing we'll do before leaving the Glen. And on to the final main area of the game.
The bustling metropolitan area of the refuge. And you got the light bulb. Everything's fine.
You can see in the layout how the different areas of the game are layered together.
It's a very nice layout made by Goppy. Shout outs to him. So Laurie's going to be going to sleep here really quick, closing the game one more time.
Now you may be wondering, is there any glitches in this game? Because so far it's been mostly mashing and general execution. But in the last area of the game, there is a gigantic skip you can do by closing the game at a certain point. And it's very impressive. We'll be going into detail more on that once the players get there.
Yep, it saves about 2 minutes over glitchless, I believe. Something like that. And it skips an RNG-based puzzle, which I am not a fan of, so that's good. But first, Laurie has to get here to the refuge. Little winding tunnel, but she can make it through the door.
To make it past that door into this area, you have to use the pen and sign a document. The robot will not let you in regardless.
We have tried skipping that many ways, and nothing seems to work.
There is a possible out of bounds you can do in that specific area of the Glen, but it's not possible to clip into the building itself, unfortunately. That has collision surrounding it on all sides. If there was a way to clip into it, there could be a substantial time save awaiting us.
Although something interesting to note is you do actually need the feather to progress later in the game. So even if we could skip that, we'd have to get the feather somehow.
That is a good point.
At least in theory. Obviously things can always change, but the understanding we have at this moment is that we need the feather. So here we see this elevator isn't quite working. The button's missing. The button that usually says ground, so we need to find some way to make a button that says ground. How would we do that? With the coffee can, or coffee bean can.
Laurie's going to be running around the upper part of the refuge looking for items to craft this button. But before we get any more items, Laurie's going to go to sleep real quick. It's the most convenient time to go to sleep.
Yeah, there's a few different routes that we've tried over a bit to optimize this upper refuge, and this seems to be the fastest one for sure. Well, actually, if you can enter the next screen a little bit earlier and then fast travel back, and it's literally exactly the same amount of time. So it's just easier to not worry about that fast travel. Speaking of fast travel, this is the one indoorsy area you can fast travel out of. You see there's no fast travel point to that bed, but you can fast travel away from it. A little bit weird, but we appreciate the time save.
You're never intended to fast travel inside indoor areas.
Yep. If Laurie were to do it right now, it would say you can't fast travel right now.
That was a very small oversight by the developers. It's the only location that's like that.
Here we're getting scissors, one of the final items for this button.
And as you notice on Chris's feed, pretty far behind, based on Laurie. So it would take a pretty substantial comeback to win this race, or to win this specific race.
There is one major section. There's a skip coming up, so you can soft lock. So if you're not careful, it's very rare, especially if you're playing careful, but it is possible. And then there is a giant section that is pretty easy to mess up. So you never know, but it would take a very big mess up.
It's definitely not over yet.
So actually, what's thing important to note is you have to take this button that you make here and tape it together. If you try to put it in the elevator, it'll let you, but it'll fall out and give you an item called "You Tried," which is a very funny item. Laurie talking to that tape dispenser about 5 times. It only has like 2 text boxes afterwards, so it's very easy to talk to an accident if you're just trying to mash through it.
Definitely. The tape is also bolted to the table, so nobody takes it.
That's what you learn through those 2 text boxes.
Yeah.
But here, this code is the same every time. There's a fun puzzle to figure out this code the first time, where you have to drag your screen around while equipping an item. It's a pretty cool little puzzle, but it's the same, so we don't need to worry about it. Actually, all in all, a pretty decent code, too. And here's another masking section where you have to choose the right dialogue options. You have to choose all 3 dialogue options here, and the 4th option is to wait in awkward silence, which takes longer than mashing through all these dialogues. You'll see Laurie being a little bit careful here to make sure to not say the same one twice.
It's ironic how the option to skip all the dialogue is slower than actually doing it.
Yep, because it just waits a certain amount of time. So here we're going to be grabbing a couple fast travel points. namely the back alley, and then going down to the library, back to the back alley, and up to the vendor street. So getting all this pretty much that as soon as you exit the library, you can go right to the vendor street. Saves a little bit of time because you want to fast travel to the library anyways. So might as well use that.
And pretty soon Laurie's going to be setting up for the skip in the library. The skip is called Kip Skip, and to perform it, you have to walk into this invisible barrier and close the game at the same time.
She gets it, no problem.
If done correctly, you'll be able to bypass the barrier and move on to the actual library part where you can talk to a character named George. The skip is done twice in the run, once to go in and once to go out.
The thing to note is that George will change their face every time. Every time you enter this room, it'll change. Depending on like every run, it's random, and different faces have different amounts of text boxes and different amounts of time. So George 5 is the fastest, and George 3 is the slowest. There we go, George 1, which is pretty average, I think. And also for that skip, the reason that skip even matters is because if you just walked into that square, the book bot that's standing there would push you out. So you need a library card to get past, but not if you use the powers of closing the game. So George is translating this journal that you got a while ago in this safe. It gives you the third item you need to enter the tower. Now all you have to do is go to the tower, and that'll be the final section of the game here.
Laurie's going to be doing the skip once again. One thing to note is that she walked into the barrier, which decreases the soft lock chance dramatically, almost completely.
It increases the amount of time you have the window.
I've never soft locked while walking into it. And it loses barely any time, so I would always recommend it to new runners. Loses probably a couple frames at most, I think.
Oh yeah, and I do running Kip Skip, and Laurie makes fun of me for it, so...
Saving the frames.
No real reason, just because it's what I'm used to.
And Laurie is entering the tower.
When you close the game in the tower, it checks if you have all three of these glowing items. The amber you got from Silver, the feather you got from Calamus and Lula, and then this die you got from George. So, you need all three of them to progress. And we see Kris here going to sleep right now in the library.
Still pretty far behind, but the tower is a place where mistakes can happen. There's some complex memorization required, as well as some interestingly somewhat difficult puzzles to do.
A lot more easy to mess up. Puzzles you saw. This section is infamous for killing runs. Or one section in particular in this tower.
Kris is also going for the second Kip Skip. We'll see how he does. Nice. Both players got the skip without soft locking.
So as Kris exits the library... Oh, I don't know. That's weird. He's asking about pancakes. Not entirely sure what happened at Kris's end.
Yeah, Kris is going back into the library.
Did he forget something? I wasn't paying attention.
He may have forgot to talk to George again, but I was not paying attention to his feed.
It looks like he made soft lock too. I think he closed it a little late, I'm not sure.
That's very risky.
Yep, that's a soft lock.
Yep. To fix this, you're going to have to close the game and reopen it. I think it's fair to assume that Laurie will be taking this race unless her game crashes at the very end of the game, which is unlikely.
I think even still be pretty hard to lose. We get an oof there from Kris.
Yeah, I think it's over.
The reason it's such a big soft lock is because Even if you close the game, reopen it, you're still in the same spot with the same state, because when you close the game, it saves. So you have to actually drag in a new save file, which I assume Kris does not have ready. Laurie here doing some tile puzzles. These ones are pretty easy. But this last one here is infamous for being difficult. It's a light bulb pattern, and a lot of twists and turns, and having to know exactly where you are. Laurie very quick with it. Absolutely destroying that puzzle. Laurie's actually on a very good pace, especially considering it's a tournament. We see we're kind of in part of house now, but this time when you go through that door at the very end, you can you go straight through and don't get teleported to the Barrens. You see there's a lot of things that pop up there. Some pop-ups that you have to hit enter to get through. A lot of players like to unbind their enter key that's normally menu, so that they don't have to open the menu over and over again. I don't think this is a 26 from Laurie. Definitely not a PB, but this is going to be a low 27, which is very good for a tournament. Mashing an elevator here. Laurie finishing with a 2707, it looks like, according to this chat. Which is very solid. That is not sub my PB, so that makes me feel a little better.
Very impressive gameplay from Laurie today. And with that, Laurie is the winner of the first race. This will be a best of 3, right?
Yep.
So we still got potentially 2 more races after this. So it's not all over yet.
Yep, so then Kris forfeits due to soft lock.
Very, very unfortunate. Must have been rushing too fast and accidentally got it.
Yep, but there's always game 2.
Yep.
So we're going to be taking a minute in between these games. Laurie had a very solid game. I'm trying to think of what mistakes she really made, but I think a lot of it was just mashing, if anything, that she lost time on.
Yeah,
I don't remember anything too major.
I remember one point where she opened up the fast travel menu on accident, but besides that, it was very solid.
Yeah, her tile puzzles in the tower were very good. That was a very solid tower, for sure. Overall, very good run. Sub Kona. Just important to note there.
Just barely.
Just barely by 1 second. So now, due to the way this game works, you have to actually delete your files from your roaming folder in order to reset the game. We're going to be seeing them doing that momentarily. Because if you launch the game again normally, you'd have a little notification about how, for Laurie, because the ending she chose, it will say the savior is not found. If Kris closed the game and relaunched it, it would just go back to the same spot here. But we are all reset. See, Laurie has a cute little light bulb all lit up there.
Yep, and the winner of the race will be determined by who can fill up 2 light bulbs first. Just as a visual note.
Very cool little graphic. So while we're here, this is the first race of the tournament. The winner of this race is going to face the winner of Durbil and iPie, which is second seed versus sixth seed. So, very strong feeling Durbill is going to win that one. It's very likely you're going to see Laurie versus Durbill coming up.
Well, hey, anything can happen.
Anything could definitely happen.
I still have faith in Kris.
And then also on the other half of the bracket, we have me versus Crudes, going to be played tomorrow at 5 Eastern Daylight Time. And then Kodasumi here versus whom is what time? Saturday at 7:30?
Yes.
Awesome.
7:30 p.m. Eastern Time.
This is going to be very exciting. It's the top 8 tournament only. Just 8 of the top runners of this game. So not a huge bracket. It shouldn't take a whole lot of time, but it's going to be very exciting, especially once we get to those top 3 runners, which are all within like 30 seconds of each other on the leaderboards, where anything can happen. We all have different predictions over who's going to win those top 3 games.
We're still waiting on Kris to set up here.
Definitely a big oof getting soft locked in the tournament. Hopefully it's better the second game. You have ready from Laurie. We're still waiting on Kris.
When I unmarked Laurie's the winner, it looks like the light bulb also went away.
Oh, here, I got it.
That's a bug, I think.
We have the Dunzos. I think it's set up for a best of 1, not a best of 3.
Okay. So I think to properly get audio, we will need to unmark Laurie, even though it'll take away the light bulb.
Yeah.
But yeah, as a note, Laurie's in the lead by 1 match.
Unless they can change on the fly, which would be great. But I'm not sure if they can. They're looking into it. Shout out to Speed Gaming staff for being on top of everything.
Speed Gaming's always a pleasure to work with.
They really are. Very happy we can have the tournament hosted here. We're going to just do it among ourselves, doing a challenge bracket, but this is way better.
Yeah, it makes things more fun, spices things up a bit.
Prudes in chat saying Kris won the tourney. Not entirely sure if that's true, but you know.
It's not over till it's over.
That is true. Nico is just sitting in bed in Laurie's game, just staring longingly at the ceiling. A little confused about where they are. Yep, we have 1-0 from Laurie. We're trying to figure the situation out. Luckily, we do have a little bit of time while Kris is getting ready.
All right, looks like the layout has been fixed.
Awesome. Looks like it's just being done manually instead of through this control. Hopefully that gets fixed sooner rather than later. Of course, it's just been on the comm controls. That's good to know.
Yeah, they're not on mine.
Yep, mine neither. Very exciting. Okay, Kris is ready. So,
Oh my gosh, Laurie.
I hate Laurie so much.
Amazing.
There he is.
As for context, that is a picture of me that became a meme for some reason.
After you posted it, this is all on
Yeah.
you.
Well, hey, I'm not taking responsibility.
Laurie's stream has become the biggest meme.
In a good way.
Okay. Okay, cool. And countdown is done. Just gonna wait for stream to catch up. We love a good stream delay. And let's see who takes game 2. I would be willing to put money on Laurie, but I can't count Kris out for sure. Anything can happen.
Seems like Laurie might be a little more warmed up than Kris here, but they've both had a chance to warm up slightly. They've both done essentially a full run.
A lot of Kris's mistakes were due to just forgetting the route and not doing stuff he needs to do to progress. So maybe with a better run where he remembers the route. Still with no colorblind mode there. 3721 code from Laurie, definitely pretty good. 7968 from Kris, also fairly good. No 5s, which you don't want to see a 5 in these codes.
Laurie has a slight lead in house. Looks like Kris is running into some of the walls here.
This movement could be a little bit tight. That was a really quick fireplace light.
Oh, little hesitation from Laurie, but still a great entrance.
There's a lot of talk about when you grab the light bulb here on the timer, because that's kind of a better way, because we all split different times for house. Looks like Laurie gets a low 56 light bulb grab, while Kris has a 103.
So there's about a 7-second gap between the two players already, just in the first minute.
Just in house. Laurie's the only person I've ever known to equip the light bulb on the stairs there.
You can do it whenever you want. It really doesn't matter,
Yeah.
but I've always done it immediately after the cutscene just to get it over with.
The stairs are weird because you have to walk on them, and you can't obviously open the inventory while you're walking, so you have to do it as you just hit a new tile. Laurie going out into the Barrens. We're going to see all these beautiful panoramics one more time. Or 2 more times, actually. There are 2 runners.
Anyway, yes.
Profit bot.
Same as last time. They're just going to be getting fast travel different areas. It's very fast, saves a lot of time. And the main goal right now is talking to Profit Bot and then going to sleep.
Yep. Very, very little that changes within each run other than these codes and just execution. Laurie very quick on that, scrolling down to the computer. It always scares me because I don't want to mess it up and have to say the wrong thing.
It is not possible to leave this conversation without asking about the computer. That's the only requirement you have to do here. Yep. And with that, Laurie is going to sleep. At a 2:43-ish.
Something like that. Kris entering the bed. Something to note is you see Laurie walking down one tile before she enters the bed there and going to the middle of the bed for every other bed. Whereas Kris walked one tile up and had to walk down. Every bed has a little area where Nico will automatically walk to, and it's slower than running, so you want to talk to the bed on that tile. There's a little bit of time, very little, but it's something to note.
There's about a 10-second gap between the two players at the moment.
Yep, and the gap seems to be widening.
Well, that's what it seems like, but you never know. Something could happen. Something could happen to Laurie.
That is true. Let's see how these SFTs are. Pretty quick from Laurie. If you mess up that first timing there, then you can just get stuck and going really slow.
It's rather easy to miss menu on this part because of the different menu timings required.
especially in Barrens, because Barrens has the most areas, so it changes the most throughout the run. Barrens, being the outer circle of the world, has the largest surface area, and we explore the most of it as well. Whereas in Refuge and Glen, we skip multiple areas, so less to explore.
To put everything into perspective, the whole world is a giant circle. A giant 2D circle. And the Barrens is on the outside, the Glen is on the middle part, and then Refuge is right in the center with the tower dead smack in the center.
It was a very interesting design for the world. Where the top of the tower is where this light bulb sun goes.
The lore is that the light bulb is the sun. That's why everything is so dark. And why everything lights up when Nico runs around with the light bulb in hand. Laurie with a very clean battery menu.
We all like to make fun of this battery menu because it is not easy to do fast, but Laurie did it fast.
With a 509 generator.
I believe even one of the older records by Durbill that stood for a while, 2611, he messed up multiple times on this one little section. It's just not easy.
The gap between the two players has increased by a few seconds, and we'll see what kind of code Laurie gets. Oh, and she accidentally smashes through it.
It is not 00000. Unfortunately. I don't think that code is possible, but
that was a pretty decent code. Not too bad.
Chris's code is not great. Actually he had 55061.
Oof.
That doesn't add up, but something like that. That was weird. Some very bad numbers and some very good numbers.
The way the menu works, you can start from 0 and go up, or you can start from 0 and go back to 9876, etc. So 5 is right in the middle, which requires the most amount of menuing.
Laurie forgot the gloves. Oh, she realized.
Oh, no.
That could have been very bad.
I'm not afraid to admit I've done that a few times.
So have I. Which is the very unfortunate thing is you don't notice you forget them until like a minute and a half later. You're going to make the wet sponge. Maybe not a minute and a half, but
Kris is still holding his ground pretty good here. You can visually see how he's caught up a little bit.
Just a bit due to that mistake. Laurie getting ready to make this wet sponge. Not putting the shrimp there in the bottle.
All right, we'll see how this menuing is. Step 1 looks good. Step 2 is... Oof. Okay, that was...
I was about to say this menu is fairly easy. One of the easier ones in the game, but...
I still find it somewhat confusing.
I find it weird. Sometimes I equip the strange shirt on accident. And then I get confused. But otherwise, it's not too bad. Especially that combining this syringe with the bottle, because it has the sound effect that plays right at the end. Makes it easy to know when to stop.
Kris's menuing was pretty good, although he talked to the geyser once before warping over to the docks.
Not too uncommon when you're mashing through. You can see just once we get into this section here, you can see just how much faster Laurie's mashing could be sometimes. Just scrolling through that text, which is where a lot of her time save is coming, as well as just more confidence on these menus. I think Kris still doesn't have the route completely memorized anymore. You see Laurie just knowing down 3 to get to the docks again right after. So, not having to think about it or even look at it. Finishing Glen with, or Barrens with an 8:43. A few seconds behind her last run, but still pretty good. And on
There's
to the Glen.
still about a 15-second, or actually more like 20 seconds between the two players at the moment.
Yeah. There's always plenty to screw up in the Glen.
Definitely.
Between the free Lula puzzle as well as the Ram puzzle and the Canvas decision. Lots of time lost.
But I've noticed Laurie's been very consistent over the course of the run.
She's a very consistent runner.
That's going to help her a lot in this tournament. Consistency is key for events like these.
For sure. You can peak at first place in leaderboards, but if you can't maintain that, there's no way you're going to be able to win the tournament. Very quick mashing from Laurie. Something interesting to note is that turning doesn't take any time in this game, so you see a lot of different runners going for different routes for just walking. All taking the same number of steps. It's just funny to see the different ways everyone approaches these little things.
There is no diagonal movement in this game.
Yep, it's all very grid-based. Instead of having to find the perfect line so you don't have to turn as many times, you can just go diagonal if you wanted to, go down and then to the side. A lot of players have their own little route that we all take.
It's very forgiving in that regard, which is something I like about this game.
Kris
Can be
copying the
creative.
label on accident there. The label is in fact very warm. And let's see if Laurie has the same success with the free Lula puzzle this time. Laurie actually is the one who has video tutorials on this game. Kris has a text tutorial that's pretty good on the speedrun.com page. And Laurie has a more up-to-date video tutorial. So if you want to get into running this game, it's pretty easy. You just have to practice. All the runners do the exact same routes. It's just about execution and mashing, getting better and better.
All right, Laurie is doing the puzzle and
Easy every time.
Perfect execution.
I believe last time I saw Kris go for a different route, so it's interesting to see that. Although Laurie making a little bit of mistake walking there. This route looks familiar.
Kris is doing an alternate method for this. Just a little bit slower, but it's still pretty fast. And now we're moving on to the Ram puzzle. Everybody's favorite part of the run, because you get to hear the sheep make noise.
A lot of bars.
A little bit of trivia about this game is that the shepherd character is based off of one of the developers of this game, Eliza.
Yep. Laurie going for the same route here. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it's fast, definitely don't fix it. The funny little tune that plays when you finish that puzzle.
Yeah.
Very reminiscent of another game.
Oh no.
Laurie getting the novelty t-shirt. Very good.
That might be bad because that's gonna mess up the order the
Yeah.
items are in for the menu.
Yeah, if you say no to that trade there, the trader will be like, "Oh wow, what a bargain! You're really good at this bargaining thing," and give you this novelty T-shirt, which is used for a secret area.
Oh, Laurie said no. Oh no.
Laurie making a lot of mistakes this run, giving
Ooh.
Kris time to catch up.
Ooh, that is not good. That is a huge mistake, unfortunately, from Laurie.
It's probably
Now-
about 20 seconds between the T-shirt and Kama's decision. And I see why that decision is so big. You have to walk all the way there.
Fast travel makes it a little bit less painful, but it's still very painful.
It is still not.
Wait, did Kris say no? Kris said no too.
Kris said no too.
Oh my gosh.
And isn't fast traveling. You're actually going to walk there. Probably doesn't
Wow.
realize it's faster to fast travel. Normally a runner would just reset for messing that up because it's a big enough time loss.
Yeah, in an attempt, it's not worth continuing.
Yeah.
Unless your run has a lot more room for improvement. But it's such a huge time loss. I just don't think it's worth it.
No. Although this is a no reset setting.
Mm-hmm.
Very unfortunate that Laurie made that mistake, but then Kris did it too.
So yeah, it balances out.
Save.
Balances out ultimately. If anything, Kris lost a bit more time because he didn't fast travel, and Laurie did.
Exactly. But that's finished. Now we're going to be finishing up the Glen here, going to sleep.
Yep, and Laurie still has a pretty substantial lead.
For sure.
Going to sleep at around 14:45-ish.
Not great after that mistake, but not horrible either.
Yeah, Kris is at least 20 seconds behind, if not more, at this point.
Also to note, the difference between 100% and any percent is that glowing thing right there on the ground on Kris's screen. That is a seed from Maze. So if you want to see the 100% ending, that is required.
It is
very cute ending.
It is an optional side quest you can do.
Yep.
But it's by no means required. And with that, Laurie's going over to Refuge. See how things turn out here. Hopefully it's smooth sailing.
Place your bets on each runner's storage.
I'm going to say 4.
Say 4? I'm feeling 5. I'm feeling Laurie's can get a 5.
All right, I got 5. I got 4, and Beister has 5. Keep that in mind.
Obviously, 1 in 6 chance. There's no way to know until you get there, so just a fun little guessing game.
Seems like Kris's time loss, a lot of it is from tech smashing. I'm noticing that he is slightly slower than Laurie, and that adds up over time. Adopting a faster mashing strategy can save an unbelievable amount of time in this run.
Definitely. Also, I think you went down from like a 28:09 to a 27:08 within a few days just from mashing.
Yeah, it's a huge difference. As mentioned in the chat, for 100% glitchless, you don't do kip skip. And that means you have to go ahead and do all the library card stuff.
Yep, the whole factory, talking to Kip. The reason it's called Kip Skip is just because it's a cute name, because we skipped the character named Kip. A better name would be like Library Card Skip or Bookbot Skip, but Kip Skip is a way cuter name.
I was thinking Barrier Skip because, you know,
Wind Waker. Wind Waker.
Everyone knows about the importance of Wind Waker's Barrier Skip. Well, look what we got.
We have one where you hit the X button on the right time, very lenient window, and you're good. Already flying through this text. Not remembering where the elevator deck fast travel is, though. And she's off. Gotta make that button one more time. Grabbing these scissors. Luckily, there are scissors randomly in a pile of hair. Never really explained, but it is there, luckily for us.
It's very convenient.
As is a lot of this game. This whole apartment area Laurie's in is actually very funny. There's a lot of fun characters, including a Roomba that you can ride, which I think is Laurie's sub badge.
You get an achievement for doing it too. It's called We Ride Until Dawn.
There's a lot of fun achievements in this game.
All right, let's see if the novelty t-shirt will mess up the menuing, which it looks like it's not. It's in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, it ends up in the last slot of your inventory every time, so it's not too bad, it's just a little weird. Especially seeing it there if you go based off of visuals instead of just memorization. Laurie only talks to tape dispenser once this time.
That's an improvement over last
That is
time.
an improvement. Although not enough to counteract the novelty t-shirt and saying no to Calamus. Not quite enough. Saves about 4 seconds instead of 20. Let's start.
And again, this code is the same every time.
Very fast entering that code. Pretty easy to get that one down because you know it before. We've all input that code dozens of times.
It's a number every runner has memorized, or it's a number that every runner has memorized.
Actually, until recently, I had a sticky note on my desktop with that code as well as the tower combinations. But I don't need it anymore, so I closed it. Just because I never want to forget that code, because I did forget it when I was relearning this game after de-rusting.
And now,
10, 20, 15 seconds behind her previous run, so not too bad actually. Saved a little bit of time there, I think.
and again, Laurie's going to be getting some fast travels before executing Kip Skip. If you didn't watch the previous race, this skip is the biggest skip in the entire run, and there's a slight
only
risk
skip.
of soft locking.
As we did see.
Kris had the forfeit because of a soft lock in the previous race. And Laurie should get this.
Yeah, that looked really good, so we should be good.
Yep, no problem.
So I say George 5. And
Oh,
George
none of
2.
us. None of us
We
are right.
were so close.
The skip is done 2 times, once to enter the library and once to exit it.
Yep, because BookBot doesn't check from which direction you're coming from, because you can enter the behind the library desk from either side. So it only pushes you back one to where you were. So you have to do it both ways. It will push you back behind the library counter. Doesn't quite realize the irony of that.
All achievements would be pretty fun.
There's some fun achievements in this game for sure.
Maybe that should become a category.
I don't know if I'd run it, but that'd be funny.
How long would that even take, you think?
Trying to think of what some of the achievements are. Not too long, because I think you can do them all in any percent, right? Except for one you have to reset the game, but other than that. We're mashing through George there. And that looks like a good Kip Skip. And Kris softlocks again.
Oh no.
That is a big F.
Is he going to forfeit or...
I don't know if he has a save ready.
Ooh, that's not good. Oof, two. Yeah, it looks like it's officially over for Kris. I'll take that as a white flag.
We can get an F in the chat for Kris.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate. And if you relaunch,
Kris
even if
launching
you
the game there and it's still soft locked.
Yeah.
Not what you want to see from a tournament match for the first tournament match of the tournament.
The only possible way Laurie can lose this race is if she crashes the game or soft locks or something huge happens to where she can't finish.
Soft lock the rest of the game, especially now that the one big crash in the game is patched out.
That's right. This game used to have a problem where if you press confirm and cancel on dialogue choices, it would crash. But thanks to a recent patch by the OneShot developers, that's no longer possible.
Yep, they had to patch the game due to the Windows October update, and they decided to help out the speedrunners because that glitch does not affect casual players at all. You're not going to be accepting and declining the same frame ever casually.
Since the game's so story heavy, you're not going to be mashing fast in a casual setting.
Yeah. Laurie going to sleep here. Something to note is also you need a second program open. There's a program that's a Clover file named a bunch of underscores. That's in the game files. You have to have it open here, otherwise you can't progress. You'll just see yourself in the bed. So there are definitely runs that people have forgotten the Clover program. Lose a bunch of time to that.
Definitely. So now Laurie will be starting the puzzles found in the tower. We'll see how she does on those. This maze is the same every single time.
This whole tower is the same every time, so once you get used to it, it's actually easier to memorize than you think. Although there is a very fun mechanic for solving it the first time, or if you don't have it memorized, where if you equip the Clover in your inventory, it'll glow on the bottom right, and then you can line up the Clover program with it to see, and then there's a note on it, it'll show you which is the right way to go. A very cool mechanic that really made me fall in love with this game.
I thought it was really creative.
Definitely, yeah. A very cool way to solve this puzzle, because there's no indication of where you should go for any of these. But Laurie, not only having the doors memorized, but having the numbers memorized too. The way that we indicate which door to go through is with a number, one being the leftmost door, and then going up through I think 5 is the max. Although I don't know if we have any 5. There's no 5 doors we go through. The highest we go through is a 4.
Yeah, you never go through a 5 in this.
Yep, but Laurie does have the number memorized.
We'll see how Laurie does on light bulb here in just a moment.
She did really well last time.
Ooh.
Not as well this time.
That's one of the many mistakes you can make on this puzzle.
What are the better mistakes you can make? This is the way worse mistake here that she made.
Yeah, that's going to be tough to correct, but oof. Well, it doesn't even matter, because if she finishes the run, she wins.
It does walk down there, saves about 3 frames probably, walking down at the end of that puzzle. But it is cool, which is what matters.
Laurie is slightly behind her run in the previous race, but still pretty good overall.
It's definitely going to be a mid 27, I think.
Not a bad time at all.
Definitely not. No, very consistent.
But anyway,
yeah, she has a 26.42 for a PB. I don't know if she's gotten a 26 since that run. I believe 26 is you need to mash very well, have really good execution. It is not easy to get. So definitely getting a 27 is very solid.
Anyway, I hope everyone enjoyed the first race of the OneShot tournament today. It was really fun to commentate, and it was also very fun to watch.
Yep, hopefully get an interview in here afterwards.
You can check out the bracket by typing "I think it's schedule." You can view the tournament schedule using that. And with that, Laurie's done.
Laurie does finish with a 27.28. That's actually my old PB. Let's see if we can get them in for an interview. Congratulations to Laurie on the 2-0. Big oof for Kris for the soft lock.
Yeah, that's very unfortunate.
Let's see. We got to see this great credit sequence from Laurie. Choosing to save the world, yeah.
Looks like we'll have Kris in for an interview as soon as he gets the invite for the commentary voice chat.
Laurie. Laurie, join our channel.
That image is such a meme.
I'm so upset. Yeet dab.
All right, we have Laurie here for an interview.
Hello.
Congratulations.
Okay, sorry about
that first run.
I was lowering my fan because it was causing echo, but I'm good now.
That first run was pretty good.
Yeah.
Your gameplay was great.
27. Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with it, at the time. Like, it wasn't a bad run, but there were a lot of kind of dumb mistakes. I lost time on every split. I didn't beat Basetus PB.
Yep,
So
I did mention that. You did beat Kona, though, which is important.
Okay, yeah. But I wasn't really too happy with that until I got to game 2. And after game 2, I was like, you know what? Maybe game 1 wasn't so bad.
A low 27 is a very solid time for sure.
Yeah.
Especially because there weren't very many major mistakes I saw at all that first run. It was just a pretty good execution overall. So Kris, welcome.
Hello.
Big F in the chat for double soft lock.
Yeah,
Oof.
so sorry, man.
I was gonna say, I saw that happen and I was freaking out. I've never soft locked Kip Skip ever.
I
And,
haven't
like,
soft locked
walking
it since
skip.
I haven't soft locked Kip Skip since I learned how to do it, and then I do it twice in a row.
yeah, like, okay, Kris, you and I, we've both been running this game since, like, what, spring of 2017? Around there? Or you were probably before that.
I ran it a long time ago, and then I came back for the race because I wanted to help out.
like,
I thought it'd be fun.
like, we're the two oldest runners. I've never soft locked, and then you do it twice in a row, and I'm so confused. I'm just like, how do you do that? Not like I want to soft lock on it, but I'm just...
So Kris, what happened on the first time that caused you to go back? Did you forget to talk to George again?
Yes, I forgot to talk to George. And when I went back, oof, F.
Yeah. I definitely saw you had a better memory of the route the second game.
Yeah, nervousness. Frankly, nervousness got me a lot, and I never got down to being as fast as I was when I ran it during my prime, but it was definitely a lot of nervousness, to be honest.
Yeah.
This is a double elimination bracket, so you do have at least one more set.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
And actually, I'm gonna probably say this now. Between winners round 1 and losers round 1, I think unless the craziest thing in the world happens and iPie wins in winners round 1, I think you and iPie is probably going to be one of the games, probably the game to watch out of round 1.
Yeah,
because that's the one where, again, you're not in your prime as you've mentioned, and iPie is our newest of our runners, so it's really the most of a toss-up.
Yep, and then round 1 also, me versus Kona is going to be very interesting.
And that one's going to be great, yeah.
We have, considering it's a top 8 bracket, we're going to be seeing a lot of very close races after this round 1 winners.
Round 1 and winners. In a bracket, round 1 is always annoying.
Laurie moving on to round 2, facing the winner of iPie and Dur, who is going to very likely be Dur. And then
that race is happening 9:30, I think, on Thursday.
Sounds right.
So I'll make sure to watch out for that.
And then we're going to be seeing Kris drop down to the lower bracket, fighting the loser of that match, which is likely going to be iPie.
Yeah.
This is going to be very interesting. You see Kona posting the schedule. Be sure to check out the runners. And then check out me and Kona as well. We're going to be seeing a lot of races here.
I'm going to probably be re-watching this because I'm really excited to listen in on the commentary.
And yeet dab to you all.
Eat dab.
I'm still laughing about game 1, how I ran around the computer and tower.
Yeah, that was funny. And then you ran around to Lula this game.
Game 2 was just the game where I ran around people.
Yep.
I did a little bit of that too, actually. At one point, with Silver Point, I ran around entirely, and then I collided with hitboxes as she went down.
Okay.
But yeah, if you want to see, we're talking about some custom title screens and stuff and custom assets. I may or may not be having those in my race tomorrow.
Yeah.
So
I unfortunately was encountering an error where the game would crash every time I would try to load it with a custom.
Only on your title screen. Probably it's assigned to that title screen as cursed. You do not want that title screen.
Well, I tried 2 title screens and I haven't tried anything else. So it could just be the title screen, but I don't have any other good meme ideas.
The one you sent me is cursed. Horrible.
Oh God, the one I sent you.
So yeah, tune in tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Tune in. On Speed Gaming at the moment we have Super Mario Bros. 3 Ultimate Finals on Speed Gaming 1, Zelda 2 Randomizer on Speed Gaming 3, Final Fantasy Randomizer League on Speed Gaming 5, and this year. I've been watching a lot of this Final Fantasy Randomizer. That's really fun to watch. Would highly recommend that.
Yeah. Mario 3 is cool, and also
Mario
it's
3 is
the
also
ultimate
cool.
finals. It's the end of the whole tournament, so that's my recommendation.
Very good. Yep, on main for a reason. But there's always a lot of fun stuff on Speed Gaming. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. And
thanks for watching, everybody.
Thank you.
We'll see you again tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern time.
Bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Adios.